So there's a myth that runs rampant in a lot of prosperity circles, prosperity trainings, law of attraction trainings. And it's a myth that we think is going to support us to experience abundance and prosperity, but actually keeps us in scarcity. And it goes like this. You shouldn't talk about scarcity. You shouldn't think about scarcity. You don't want to pay any attention to scarcity. Scarcity, ooh, that's bad, negative energy. You can't think about scarcity if you want to have abundance. Myth, illusion, denial actually creates more scarcity. You see, the distinction that's missing when people are talking about, I can't talk about scarcity, I can't think about scarcity, it's like scarcity mindset's bad, is that there are actually two types of scarcity that we all have to deal with, okay? One is like real scarcity. It's defined in the dictionary as an insufficient supply, not enough, lack, deficiency. So if, say, for example, I have a $1,000 mortgage payment due today, and I looked in all my bank accounts and I only have $147, that is scarcity. I do not have enough money to pay my mortgage today, period. That's the facts. That's the real. That's real. It may be temporary, but it is scarcity. Okay? That's the kind of scarcity we will all experience throughout our lives. It's the scarcity that goes part and parcel with the physical plane we live in, with being a human being, with the way this world works. There are limitations, there is lack, there are deficiencies. Sometimes we won't have enough. That's the fact. And when we don't accept that, when we try like, ooh, I don't want to think about scarcity, I don't want to talk about scarcity, I don't want to see that I only have $147 for my mortgage. Now we've created the second type of scarcity, which is what I call unnecessary scarcity. And 95% of all the work I do with people that makes the biggest difference in their lives and bank accounts is addressing this unnecessary scarcity. So what do I mean by unnecessary scarcity? Well, there's two things that cause it. One is it's when we have a disempowered reaction to real, actual, even if it's temporary, scarcity, lack, limitation, not enough. Oh, well, I don't have enough money to pay my mortgage. I might as well just go shopping and buy myself some new clothes. That will feel better. Not the best reaction. Not the most empowered reaction. And doing that is actually going to create more scarcity, both real and unnecessary, because you're still not going to have enough money to pay your mortgage. And you're probably going to be even more stressed and pressured and feeling guilty and beating up on yourself because I really shouldn't have spent the money on the clothing and it didn't really make me feel good like I thought it would. The other cause of unnecessary scarcity is when we have a perception of lack, deficiency, not enough, that is inaccurate. That is inaccurate. I'm thinking of a woman I know who had literally had $500,000 in her personal checking, $500,000 in her personal savings. She owned her mortgage, her home free and clear. She had no debt, no car payments, and was well on her way to having $1 million in retirement investments. And yet I remember her once considering there was a program that she really wanted to be a part of. It was like a dream, but it was going to cost like, I don't remember, it was $5,000 or $7,000. It was a 6-8 month program. And she said, I can't do that. I don't have enough money. That's a perception of scarcity that's inaccurate. And it created unnecessary scarcity for her because she robbed herself of the joy and the fulfillment that saying yes to that program would have given her. She robbed herself of the experience of honoring herself and her needs and desires. She perpetuated a deep-seated belief that we uncovered as we worked together that she's not important enough, that she's not worthy enough to have her her dreams, her desires, that money's always more important than her. See, all of this other stuff, that's also perceptions that are inaccurate. Her idea that she's not important enough or her needs, those are all inaccurate perceptions of not enough, lack, and deficiency. Now, these unnecessary scarcity patterns are oftentimes what create real scarcity. So, for example, I once suffered from this, like, ooh, I think I'm not enough the way I am. I have to look a certain way. I have to dress a certain way. I have to have a certain lifestyle. So because I thought I wasn't enough the way I am, I'm now going to spend a lot of money to buy lunches for people and to do all these really cool, expensive things and to create this image of look at how successful I am, all that sort of stuff. But I didn't really have the money. So I was doing all that on debt, which just then created real and actual scarcity. Now I don't have enough money to pay my bills or to do things I want to do. But here's the thing. Not wanting to talk about scarcity, not wanting to look at scarcity, not wanting to admit to you're experiencing scarcity, only trying to see the good and the positive, it's all stemming from unnecessary scarcity, making those things mean something about us, like we're not enough, and it perpetuates more scarcity. The real empowered place to aim for is to use your relationship with money, use the results you have in your life as a mirror to see, one, where are my perceptions of scarcity accurate? I don't have enough money to pay my mortgage. Where do I have inaccurate perceptions of scarcity about myself, money, reality? And how can I work with both? Like literally work with both. So that as I deal with and find empowered ways to address my real scarcity, I can experience more well-being, joy, and abundance and pay my mortgage. And as I address and see the causes of my unnecessary scarcity and address them, then that's going to shift the way I think about and use money and the way I live my life. So I'm probably not going to experience as much real scarcity. And if I do experience, I'm going to be way more empowered in dealing with it. If you ever hear a coach or a person say, we're not going to talk about scarcity, we're not going to think about scarcity, you shouldn't focus on scarcity, ooh, bad vibe, no, that gets in the way of abundance, I'm going to tell you, like, run like heck out of the room. Because real abundance requires that we be open to what is so. We be open to see what's true and accurate. It requires that we be open to seeing things differently. It requires that we be open to seeing things we haven't seen. It requires that we be open to receive the resources that are available to support us. It requires that we be open to let go of what doesn't support us. And all of these patterns and beliefs and perceptions that create unnecessary scarcity in our lives, and then ultimately usually create real scarcity in our lives. Yeah, my friends, we got to be open to seeing that. Because until we see it, we can't do anything to free ourselves from it. We can't do anything to heal it. That's what I'm passionate about helping people doing. So if this is resonating with you, if this is a different way of looking at scarcity, if this has got you thinking a little differently and you're going, what's the unnecessary scarcity patterns that I have that are creating maybe real scarcity? Let's connect. I invite you to schedule a discovery session with me because that's what it's about. It's about discovering this stuff because seeing it again is the first step to freeing yourself from it.